Hello. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. And I hope you are having a great day. So, it's time for another microphone rubbing video. And I will share you a dream that I had, and you will be inside my dream, experiencing it in your perspective. So, there will be objects that will tap as well. It's going to be a surprise. So, are you ready to sleep? If so, then hop in your beds and get ready to close your eyes. So, eyes closed. And now, you're now experiencing my dream. So, you're inside your room. It's very warm. It's in the middle of summer. And you've got this idea that you have been thinking about. That closet. You gotta clean it. And this closet has not been touched for years. So, well, I guess you guessed that today is the day that you clean it out. And so, with a sigh, you look at the closet and you slowly open it up. And right you see in front of you are these cluttered boxes of shoes. You've never touched them. So clothes that you've worn many, many, many years ago. Again, you have not touched. They're collecting dust. And you see some old dusty boxes containing old games that you've never used. And so, you start to take out these boxes and throw whatever you no longer need. So we begin. You begin by taking out the clothes that are too small. One by one, you pick it up. You pick every clothing that you no longer need. And that section is clear. And then, one by one, you pick up those shoe boxes, one by one, and you take it out. You take it out. But as you take out the last shoe box that's sitting in the bottom left corner of this closet area, something catches your eye. You find a frame, some frame, not for a picture, but for a door. And you swear you've not seen a door in that closet, like at the very back. You thought that it wasn't there. You've never thought of this closet having an extra door. And so, you start to maybe investigate more to see what's actually at the back. And so, you remove everything else at the bottom, those old boxes. You then remove all of the clothes that are blocking your way. And once you clear that out, you could clearly see another door concealed behind at the very back of the closet. And you also see a doorknob that's practically untouched and collecting dust. And so, you get a lot of curious. You get very curious. And by now, their curiosity has got the better of you. And now, you reach for the doorknob of the other door. And then you turn it and there's no resistance. It just turns smoothly, it making a solid creak. And then once it is fully turned, you could push the door inward. And for a brief moment, you feel a small blast of air. And as you turn and open the door, you see something. Another space. You see another room. A secret room. And that kind of baffles you. You get really surprised of discovering a secret room. You have never known that there is this secret room. And you've lived in this place for more than a decade without even thinking that there is a room that's behind the closet. So that's very surprising, of finding a second room, an extra room in your place. And you kind of go into the room because you want to know what's really inside. And as you go inside the room, you see another bedroom that's kinda reminds of something. And you realize that when people are checking this out, this place, and you got on a tour, that kinda turns a light on your mind, and they showed you this room in which you have forgotten forever until now. So inside this room, you see a night table. You see another lampshade. You see another closet at the far back of the room. You see a window facing a fence. It's facing something that you cannot see from any other side. Or something, a fence and a tree. That's the view that you get in that window as you look. And also, the very surprising one, you see another bed. And there is something that really makes your mind boggle. You notice that everything has no dust, despite the room being there for more than a decade, or perhaps more. And in this room, every furniture seems to be untouched, as if someone has recently vacuumed the place yesterday. Alright. So, you go in, and as you look, you see another painting. Not another, but one painting. A painting that has never been started, along with a unused color palette and paintbrushes. You also see a set of ping pong balls. And on the bed, on that mattress, you see another thing. And that another thing, the other thing, kinda catches your eye for some reason. A blanket. This blanket is igniting your nostalgic memories, because as you feel the blanket, you realize that it has a picture of a farm with blue skies, blue fences, and the texture is feathery, and it's mostly blue with a slight tint of yellow in some sections. of the crops in the field. That blanket is a blanket, and it was a blanket that you were using. The blanket that you've used when you were 2 to 4 years old. This blue blanket you always sleep on. And this blanket, you know that it has been placed there by the time you moved there. And you clearly completely forgot about it. In which it's been for there forever, it felt like, until you discovered it again. So this closet that you are in and this room, it felt like an entire time machine, another time machine. As if you are going back in time, reliving these snapshots of your old childhood. And so, you kinda stay in the room for a bit and realize that painting, you remember that you used to love to paint, at least in your dream self. And you take that barely started painting, it's mostly white, and that old, untouched color palette, and bring it to your actual room. So, the next thing you decide to do is to tell your parents and friends of that room you discovered. And the first person to talk to is someone else, some random person you've never met before. And apparently it is your friend in your dream. It's someone you never seen in real life, but in your dream, it's your friend. You talk to him about the secret room that you found in your place. And he comes over. And you showed him this room. And so, he then tells you, oh yes, I remember you love to paint. Show me a painting and start painting. I want to see your paint. That's what he kind of says roughly. He did not, I don't know exactly. You don't know exactly what exactly he says. And now you start to paint. So you go on your desk, you put away the laptop that you are using, and you decide to use the space as the station, your workstation, and you start painting. You start to paint. And as you do, the painting slowly develops. And it closely resembles another farm, kind of like setting a field, more of a field than a farm. It is a field with flowers and tulips and a beautiful natural setting. And then it is slowly developed minute by minute. You're clearly focused on painting this work. And as you do, you kind of feel a sensation of gravity changing. You're feeling like the painting is getting heavier and heavier. The more made, the more the paint, and the more the gravity feels stronger and stronger and stronger. At this point, you notice that things are slowly coming and rolling towards the painting, like your paintbrushes. It goes rolling to the painting, and by the time it is completely finished, you realize that things are falling into the painting, as if the painting has turned into a portal. A portal to another dimension. And so, you tell your so-called friend inside this dream, and you tell him that I created this weird painting, and it's like I can go through it. Something's really weird. And so, you show him this painting, and he's like really stunned. Like he freezes, he doesn't want to say anything, or you don't remember what he really says. Everything is fuzzy. And you find yourself taking those ping pong balls that you see in the secret room, and you take it, and you try to experiment it by putting it over the painting. And as you do, you notice that it is going through the painting, and it lands on the flower, and it's moving for some reason. You take another ping pong ball and you try to throw it inside into the painting, and as you do, the ball somehow goes and drops through the canvas, and the ball hits another flower. The flower too moves. He then tells you, "Oh, can I try?" And then you tell him, "Yeah, sure. Just grab another object in my room or anything else that you don't need." He takes some coin and he drops it down the painting. And by the time it goes through, he feels so baffled. He feels very stunned as this is now a portal. And he dares you, try to go through it. What's on the other side? And tell me. And so, you try to put your hand inside the painting. And as you do, you notice a change in air. The hand, the part of your arm that is on the other side, feels a lot more cold. Whereas here, and the arm that's above the painting, feels very hot. And so, you clearly remember going through the painting, and you happen to automatically, instinctively drop your whole body through the painting, and you land feet first on the field of flowers. And clearly, you are now into another world that is outside. You feel like this place is a lot better, despite being cooler, because your room is very hot. But the place, the new otherworldly place, is now very cool and breezy, and the flowers are moving. Those tulips that you drew became real. At this point, you try to look up and see where the sun is, and instead of the sun, it is this opening revealing the ceiling of your room. And you are clearly baffled. You try to go back up, but it is too high. It's like 10 feet above the ground. At this point, you decide to go explore with no choice this field that you are in. And this field is very, very peaceful. It has nothing but flowers on one side, and on the other side is a street that looks very familiar. And this street turns out to be the same exact copy of the street that you live in. And in this field, you do realize, after looking the entire surroundings, it is the bicycle lane that is nearby your street. So you decide to go and start walking towards your place. And you do realize something as you walk. You don't remember what exactly happened during the walk, but you totally end up at the same house that you live. And the thing is, this house is the exact same house, but a decade ago. 10 years ago. And that is weird. It's like you're back at the time frame to where you first move in. And as you are outside of your house, you see an old car, where in fact it was the car that your parents had a decade and a half ago. It was a different color. And you go inside the house. Again, you don't remember any tiny detail, but you clearly remember going inside your room and seeing your parents. Again, they look 10 years younger. The calendar that you have in the hallway, it still says 2010, because you know that the calendar, like, it's still the calendar that you used to have. It's hanging, it's red. It has 2010 and then 2010 or something. So it's more than a decade ago. A decade and a half ago. At this point, you go and investigate further of your room. And when you look at the closet, you clearly see nothing that's inside the closet, no new clothes. But you do clearly see the room that's supposed to be secret. And as you do, you clearly see the same bed, the same night table, and the same lampshade with the blanket as well on the bed, in which your parent says, okay, we're moving in at some point. And as you see the sun rise, you see the sunrise in glowing yellow lights. You don't remember anything else. And eventually, your dream is over. It's time for you to now exit my dream. And now, you have woken up. Or you have fallen asleep in reality. Alright, so I'm gonna go sleep now. I hope you do enjoy this video. Please give this video a thumbs up by gently tapping the like button. If you do get your tingles, I was using cubes on occasion for the tingles, and I did some occasional mic rubbing, so hopefully this gives you your needed tingles. So, if you're new to this channel, welcome, because my goal is to make people sleep, ease off your sleep debt, and pay off your entire balance of that sleep credit card. Get that credit card's balance to 0, or else you'll go into debt. Have a good night. I'll see you in the next video.